In this lecture, we're going to learn how we can get the current hour in military time, because we are going to show a different greeting based on what hour it is in military time. Is it 11 or is it 23, which is 11 a.m. versus 11 p.m. Military time makes it easy for us to know if it's morning, afternoon, or evening, or night. Before we jump into this video, go to training.mammothinteractive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership and get access to all of the courses we've ever created. That's over 2,000 hours of content. Okay, so instead of using a function to get the current time, I am going to show the current hour. Okay, so I could completely remove this, or I could keep it and just add on to it here. Let's add another piece of text that says the current hour. And now, if you want to use two objects, two elements, you have to actually put them into a group, because otherwise it will show up on two different pages, the two objects. So what I will do is I am going to create a vertical stack, meaning it will put the two elements one above the other. All right, I'll paste those two text objects into the vertical stack. So the two objects are now stacked vertically. And I'm going to move the font to be on top of the vertical stack, which means that it will format both of my text objects at once instead of just formatting one of them. And I can reduce that font size a little bit. Great, okay, so now I have here the time, and then I have the current hour, and it's prompting me to put in some hour. So how do I get the current hour? Well, I'm going to create a variable, and we'll call it the current hour, and we'll create a function called getCurrentHour. Okay, then inside of another text object, we'll actually show the current hour. Okay, and here we now have to create that function getCurrentHour. Otherwise, we'll get this error message. So let's create the function. We'll create a function with the keyword func, and then the name is getCurrentHour. The function doesn't take in any arguments, but it is going to return for me a string. And here I'm going to use curly brackets to open up the body of the function. And here we could already return some hour, like 0. Okay, that would be in military time, midnight. So let's refresh the preview, and we'll be able to see now we'll actually have 0 appear in our third text object. Just give it a moment to update. Okay, so now we have 3 text objects. We have the current time, the current hour as a literal string, and then the variable current hour. It could take a moment for this to update, so just keep refreshing the preview, and look, there you go. Now we have current hour is 0. Okay, and there we go. So we can see that the current hour is 0 because we're returning a literal string 0. But I don't want to return a literal string here, 0. I want to instead be able to use SwiftUI to get my current hour. So what I'm going to do is use the calendar object from SwiftUI and use .current. Then I'm going to grab the date components from that and grab the hour and the minute. Okay, and you don't really need the minute if you're not going to use it, so you could just use the hour. But you do have options to get the hour, the minute, and the seconds. We want them from the current date, which is the current time. Okay, and those are going to be stored in components. So let's just create this variable called components. Okay, and let's see, from here we have from the date. Okay, just wait a moment and the error messages will disappear. Then we get a warning that we're not using the variable, so let's put it to use. What I want to do is get the current hour, and to do that I grab the components and then I can grab the hour from it. Okay, then I can return the current hour. Right, so we are using the calendar object to get the current date, and from it just the hour component, and then we're accessing that hour component, and we are going to get it. Now you'll get this message that we cannot return, cannot convert an optional integer to a type string. So what we have to do is actually wrap the current hour in a string because otherwise its data type is an integer. And it's an optional integer because it has this question mark at the end of it. So that means it may or may not get a value. Okay, so here we're returning a string of the current hour. Just save the file and refresh the preview and your error message will disappear. Let's see, just going to wait a moment. No exact matches in call to initializer. So what we have to add here, one more thing is, because components.hour is optional, that means it may or may not have a value. So we actually have to add these two question marks and then a 0, meaning that if we were not able to fetch the current hour, if there was some kind of problem, then we'll just return 0. Okay, so you have to add this if you have an optional variable, an optional integer, which means that it may or may not have a value returned. So this is just required due to the way that the calendar is set up. Okay, so now look at that. Now our preview works. Okay, now we have 11:16 a.m., current hour 11. So we know that the current hour is indeed 11 because we can see the time right there. Okay, so that is how we can get the current hour in military time. Okay, and we can put more padding or spacing around our objects. You can see in our vertical stack we have one padding around that text item. But if you want to just apply spacing on all the items, then you can put a spacing parameter to the vertical stack like 50. So that will put 50 units of spacing around each element in the vertical stack. Okay, so there we go. That is what the preview looks like now. The time, the current hour, 11. Okay, great. So now we were able to get the current hour in military time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to go to training.mammothinteractive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership, where you can get access to over 350 courses that we've created.